A night in the dormitory. The old building stood at the edge of the university campus like a forgotten giant. Its walls were covered in peeling layers of gray paint, and its narrow windows resembled lifeless glass eyes, watching those who entered and exited without mercy. Although the administration had announced that the building had recently been renovated, something about its atmosphere remained strange. The air inside was heavier than usual, and the smell of dampness never left, as if the walls themselves refused to be brought back to life. Lyon, a first-year university student, entered carrying two small bags, her expression wavering between excitement and anxiety. She had no other choice. All the rooms were taken, and only this fourth floor of the old building remained. When she reached the door of her room, numbered 407, she reached out to unlock it. The creak of the door was long, like a groan escaping an old iron throat. The room was medium-sized, its walls painted a yellowish white, with a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. The furniture was simple: an iron bed, a wooden desk, and a wardrobe with a cracked mirror. As Lyon began unpacking her things, her eyes fell on a shelf in the corner, thick with dust. She reached out and pulled an old decaying book. When she blew off the dust, it scattered into the air like a choking cloud. On the cover, faint writing appeared: "Don't let the light go out." She stepped back, staring at the phrase. Her heart raced, but she forced a laugh. It must be a joke from a student who lived here before. She returned the book to its place and sat on the bed to rest. But she didn't know that this phrase would mark the beginning of something she couldn't escape. The first night. When the hallway lights were turned off and night fell, Lyon lay in her bed. It wasn't long before she began to hear a faint sound coming from the wall near her head, like fingernails scratching wood or plaster. She slowly lifted her head and listened closely. The sound grew clearer, a continuous scratching, sometimes broken, as if someone were writing an endless sentence with their nails. She reached to turn on the small lamp beside her bed, but it didn't work. She tried again. Nothing. The power was out in the entire room. Darkness prevailed. Suddenly, she felt a cold breath pass near her face, heavy breaths like incomprehensible whispers. She froze in place, unable to scream, and could only cover her face with the blanket. After long, heavy minutes that felt like hours, the sounds gradually faded, then disappeared. In the morning, she awoke to find the book she had discovered the night before, lying on the floor beside her bed, open to a page with trembling handwriting. "The light is your safety. Don't turn it off." The next day, Lyon sat with some students in the lounge. She gathered her courage and asked, "Don't you hear strange noises at night in this building?" A brief silence followed. Then one of them said in a low voice, "Your room is next to the locked one, isn't it?" "The locked one?" "Yes, room 408. No one's gone near it for years. The last student who stayed there was never seen again." Lyon shivered, trying to hide her worry. "But why hasn't the administration sealed it off completely?" One of them smiled nervously. "The door is sealed, but they say it sometimes opens on its own." That night, Lyon had a vivid dream. A thin woman in a long black dress, her face pale and featureless, except for two hollow black eyes. She stood at the door of the neighboring room, waving her hand, inviting Lyon to enter. The closer Lyon came to her in the dream, the more the ground beneath her feet turned to mud, slowly swallowing her. She woke up terrified, drenched in sweat. When she looked toward the hallway, she saw something that froze her blood.
The door next to hers, the one the student said had been sealed for years, was slightly ajar, as if someone had just left it. She hesitated for a long time before approaching. Every cell in her body screamed for her to turn back, but something stronger pulled her toward the door. She pushed it slowly. It let out a long, muffled creak, and a suffocating stench of mold wafted out. The walls were covered in overlapping scratches, carved by fingernails, repeating words with no end. "Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out." In the corner, Lyon saw something like a small, decaying notebook. She picked it up with a trembling hand and read the first pages. "We were 4, and now only I remain. The light is the only way. The light is your safety." The notebook fell from her hand as she suddenly heard heavy footsteps behind her. She turned slowly, but found no one. She rushed back to her room and locked the door tightly and sat down to write a message to her parents, telling them she would leave the next day. Suddenly the light went out, and the flashlight she had brought didn't work. Silence reigned, except for a faint whisper that grew closer until it was right beside her ear. "You are the 5th." She felt a cold hand grip her neck. She screamed, but her voice was trapped in her throat. At that moment, one of her roommates burst through the door. But the room was empty. No trace of Lyon remained, except for the book, open to the last page. On the blank page, new black words had appeared. "The count is complete." And since that night, no one has found Lyon. Room 407 remains a silent witness to a mystery never solved.